Okay, we are going to get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Levy, and I'm one of the assistant principals here at Wootton High School. Welcome to our Rising Ninth Grade registration meeting. Tonight, you are going to hear from our department chairs, we call them our resource teachers, and our special program coordinators, so that those of you who are the class of 2028, you're going to have an opportunity to hear about the courses, the specific content areas, and classes that you can take when you enter high school next year. So you are going to receive a lot of information this evening. I know that those of you at Frost, you have been watching videos of our resource teachers sharing with you about the courses that you can take. Those of you from Cab and John, you heard from our resource teachers today about the courses that you can take. Please take a few seconds and scan the QR code that's in front of you. That is the course planning card for our rising ninth graders. On that card, you will see listed every course, content specific as well as electives, that your child, that you as a rising ninth grader are eligible to take for next year. So please sit back. We are next going to hear from our principal, Mr. Nelson, and then after that, we were going to get started with hearing from our specific content resource teachers. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you so much, Ms. Levy. I appreciate you getting us started this evening. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the amazing and talented educators that we have on this Zoom this evening, and this includes our resource teachers, program coordinator, administrators, and wonderful counselors, I would like to welcome you here this evening for our presentation. I must tell you, I get very excited for this evening when we are welcoming our incoming 8th graders who will soon be 9th graders, because what we are doing this evening is really setting the stage for what is going to be an exemplary experience that you are going to have as you join us here at Wootton. So my name is Douglas Nelson. I am the principal here. I'm starting my 2nd year, and I just am so excited to get to know you as you are preparing for that transition from middle school into high school. With that, I would, of course, like to welcome you all here this evening to the Wootton family. As I was saying, my 2nd year, I did the same transition, and I came to Wootton last year, and I oftentimes get asked one thing from parents, probably more than any, which is my impression as someone who has come to the school as principal. And I will tell you this, I find Wootton to be a wonderful place. Your students right now are 8th graders. It is hard to believe they are halfway through that year. Very soon, they will wrap up their middle school experience at both Frost and Cab and John. And then before you know it, they will be transitioning to us as 9th graders. And as we go through that experience together, and as you join our Wootton family, I would just like to say with you, please be a part of this experience with us. So I call us a family for a reason. The high school experience is very rich. There are so many special moments that take place over the 4 years of high school. But I truly want to say to you as parents and any students that might be on this Zoom, we truly want you to engage with us here at Wootton. How much you put into this experience is how much you get out. So as I welcome to the family, please make sure that you become a part of engaging with us over these 4 years. A few notes that I'd like to impart with parents and students about the scheduling process, as it is a very important one. Please keep in mind that these decisions really are impactful decisions. So this is something that you want to lean into. As information is shared with you, please make sure that you take note of the advice or those special recommendations that are passed along. The decisions that you make are important not only because they are going to become your child's schedule next year, and that is going to be a year of important learning from start to finish. These schedules also come down to how we set up our classes and our schedule at the school. And so please make sure that you are taking a look at those due dates and deadlines and being timely and making sure that you're selecting your courses, as that really helps our schedule team do what they need to do here at Wootton to prepare for the next academic year. Another piece of advice that I would like to share with you, and I think this one is important, please make sure you are listening to your child and following their interests in the decisions that they are preparing to make. This is an intentional process. And over time, what we know is as our students get older, as they mature and as they learn more about what they want to do and how to work through this process, we do want to give them more autonomy, and we want to also really listen to their interests. They're going to develop over time. And so by engaging with your child, having time around the table to hear what is really on their mind or where do they see their next step when it comes to their academic journey, that is really important, as students are going to do more of this on their own as they move from 8th to ninth to 10th, and so on, all the way to graduation in the year 2028. And then that's preparing them to move on to college and career. And we want them to be independent and prepared to make that transition. So this is the time to really start to practice with that and really start to listen to what students are going to say. These are the courses that they want to take. The final point that I would like to make is you have a great support team at Wootton. So as you are going through the process of selecting courses, please remember we continue to be available to you to help with questions or any points of clarification that you may have. And so at Wootton, we are structured and assigned to our students based on last name alphabetically. So please take the opportunity to stop by the Wootton website and check out and see who your child's administrator or counselor may be. And please reach out to us. An email to a resource teacher, a counselor, or an administrator, or a phone call is going to help you get answers to any questions that you may have. Please know we're your support team, and we're going to continue to do that over the next few years. So thank you so much for taking time tonight to be here. As Ms. Levy said, we have important information to impart. Sit back, take it all in, and please know we also will be recording tonight's presentation that will be available to you over time if you need to go back and revisit any of this. So all of that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kurtz, I believe, one of our wonderful counselors.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Hello, parents, and welcome. My name is Rob Kurtz. I'm one of the counselors here at Wootton, and I'm going to try to just quickly tonight go over some information that's important. First thing we're going to go over are the graduation requirements. If you've had sons or daughters go here in previous years, you'll see that some of these requirements are the same, but there has been some changes. So looking at, I know that they're the class of 2028, but the ninth grade requirements for next year are the same. The important thing here, as I think what Mr. Nelson said, is we have 4 years to get through these classes, and it's really important to think about your child, their activities, how much social life they want to have, things they do in and outside of school. So as you start looking at these classes, is how can you build a good schedule, a good rigorous schedule, but knowing that there's other things to go and more classes to take. And all the counselors, with the help of administration, the department heads, we really think about that a lot, because we know that there's a lot of acceleration and people feeling the need to take so much so quickly. We really hope tonight that you can hear that and really get into things you're interested in and really get into things you want to do. And you have 4 years to take all these wonderful classes. So I'm going to quickly go through these. So where you see on the sheet where it says 1 credit basically means 1 year. So for us currently, for the incoming ninth graders, they're going to need 1 credit of a computer science class. That will be either Foundations of Computer Science or AP Computer Science Principles. I know some of these kids have done a class in 8th grade, is not a science credit, so that also will work. You're going to have 4 years of English that you must take English each year, starting with English in 9th and 10th, and then you get into 11th and 12th, they can get into AP Lang or AP Lit. 1 credit of fine art. We have a lot of wonderful fine arts, from music to the arts to dance to theater to voice to guitar. So a lot of options. Students will now need to take 1 full year of health. They will take 4 years of mathematics, but they need to have math on their schedule every year that they're in high school. So even if they finish their math credits prior to their senior year, they still need to have math on their schedule. They have to have 1 year of PE. They will need 3 science courses taken over the time. And I know Mr. Thompson will go over those later, but for a lot of our kids, that's going to be biochem and either some type of physics or AP science. They need 3 credits of social studies, U.S. history, world history, and national, state, and local government. And then they will need 1 program completer, which they can get a whole bunch of ways. You'll hear about that tonight. Most of our kids go through the world languages, and they need to have 2 years of the same language. And including that, there also is 75 SSL hours. And I know a lot of the 8th graders coming will come in with some hours already through the middle school. And then there are also going to be some comprehensive assessment requirements in algebra, English, government, and science. They do change often. Some sit for, some take. So I don't want to get into that specifically, but there will be some assessments they will have to take during their high school. Now we're going to move to how to choose your courses. Going back to what Mr. Nelson said, I think it is a team approach, and our counselors have all been in the building for a long time and have some good knowledge. But it is important for parents to become very familiar with the interactive course bulletin. What are your options? What are your courses? How do these classes relate? And then it is also good to use the planning card as a guide to kind of see, how we go through and look at the courses. For most 9th graders, there is some flexibility, but everyone takes the math. Excuse me. Everyone takes English. Everyone takes the science. Everyone takes a history. Most kids are taking a world language, and then you have 2 kind of open classes. And that really goes into what your interests are. If you're into art, get into art early, because then you can get into the higher levels of art. If you're into the computers, get into those. We want the kids to get into their interests. When you're choosing classes, you'll be choosing 7 classes for each semester. We're on a semester system. So semester A is in the fall. That will be August until January. And then semester B is January until the end of the year. So you'll have a total of 4 classes. So you'll see on their card, Honors English 9A, and then they'll need Honors English 9B for a total of 14. You don't sign up for lunch. The kids will take 7 classes and have lunch next year. You'll hear a lot about balance. I think balance is a word that at our school continues to be something we constantly work on. But again, just think about it. Over the course of 4 years, they can continue to raise the rigor. There's no reason to come in too quickly, too soon, and keep thinking about that. It is a difficult way to find that balance, but we'll constantly be working with you guys on that. And then, of course, asking those questions. Are you challenged? Are you taking high-level classes? Are these subjects you enjoy? We really want them to develop a love and a liking and a real passion for things, and hopefully that happens. And then we do a lot of work with the students in 9th and 10th and looking at how those classes interrelate. And then we do a lot of work with kids looking at 11th and 12th, because this 4-year plan are all these relationships from grade to grade. On the schedule, on the planning cards you'll get, please to make sure to add in 4 alternate course choices. For a lot of kids, they may want to do PE, and sometimes PE basketball will fill up. So they may have to go into yoga or team sports. So make sure you put some alternate class choices in on your planning card. Okay, and the last thing, now that you have the information, is when you sit down with your son or daughter to choose the classes, the pre-work, going through the course bulletin, looking through the sheet, having these discussions will really be helpful. You're going to do this through student view. You'll click on the left, you'll see course request, and then you'll be able to search for the courses, which are alphabetical by subject. You can, if you have the course name from the sheet, you can type in the course the name of the course or the ID, or you can just do through the alphabetical listing. And again, after you put the course in, you hit add request, and you need to have 7 courses for first semester A, and you need to have 7 courses for second semester B, with a total of 14 courses. We're excited to meet your children. Wootton is a great place. It's a great place to learn. It's a great place to be involved. And it is a team approach there. We'll be willing to work with your kids. Please feel free to reach out to any of the counselors if you have any questions. And we'll catch up and see you soon. Thanks for your time tonight.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, go ahead, Miss Levy. Sorry.
I was just going to say thank you, Mr. Kurtz, for that information. Now we're going to hear from Ms. Hanson about the Humanities and Arts Signature Program.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us today or tonight. What I'd like to do in the next few minutes is take you through one of the options your children will have when they come to Wootton. There are several different programs that they can join, although they may decide they don't want to join one. But let me tell you about the humanities and arts. This is a program that is really here for kids who are passionate about literature or history or art, culture, music, languages, all of those things. Okay. What we offer is, as you can see, a unique, flexible, and challenging course of study. The first thing that we do is we put our students into a cohort or a learning community. And so they will take enriched sections of 9th and 10th grade English and social studies. So for the first 2 years, they'll be with each other in both of those courses. We also have a cohort in the 11th grade social studies courses as well. One of the things that parents and kids always ask me, are these courses harder? And I think the way I would say, what I would say is that they're just a little bit different. It's not harder. We do try to enrich our students' experiences with field trips and workshops and speakers. We also will offer capstone courses, which I will talk about in just a minute. You can see one of the trips that we have taken our students on in the past is to Ellis Island for a field trip, which is always popular. Okay, Ms. Levy. So if your student decides to join the program, we are going to ask them to make a decision if they are a humanities focused or an arts focused student. So let me take you just through the humanities portion, and then we'll go to the arts portion. So as you can see here, what I have is a list of the courses that they have to take. Obviously 4 in English, 3 in social studies. We do require 3 world language credits. Those can come from middle school as well. We also require 1 credit of fine arts. And the place where the students are able to really kind of specialize a little bit is in the additional electives. These electives can be in any of the 4 major humanities and arts disciplines, the ones that I've just listed. Also required of our humanities focused students is to take the AP seminar course as well as the AP research course. The AP seminar may be taken as 10th grade English, or it can be taken as an elective, typically in 11th grade. And then usually the year after that, the students will take the AP research course. All right. And I have a slide in here. I'm going to talk in just a moment about the AP capstone program for the entire school, but I wanted you to know that this signature program is completed by enrolling in the AP capstone program. And those courses are AP seminar and AP research. And you can see I've got the same listing there. But these are program completers for the humanities students. So I want to put that in there. Ms. Levy? Okay, and for the arts focused students, again, 4 English, 3 social studies, and we do ask our students in fine arts to take 5 credits. Typically, that would be 4 in one field, say, for example, photography or theater or orchestra. And then we do ask them to take 1 other credit of their choice in another arts field, whatever that may happen to be. We do require 2 credits of world languages from our arts focused students. And when the students are seniors, we require they take the the arts capstone class, and that's for seniors only. Typically, we will have them join the class, develop, and in fact, I think I have another slide on this. Yeah, we develop a major project that they do in their particular field of art. It has to be of significance, quality, and scope. All of the arts projects will have a performance and exhibit component as well as a small written component. So one other thing that we have our students do, in addition to taking the capstone classes, and this is on our next slide, is the independent experience. We do ask our students to do one of the ones that are listed here. They have to do one during the course of high school. So it can be an internship, a study abroad experience, a university program. Our arts-focused students can also use any art such as piano or vocal lessons that they do. And I'm flexible. You can come up with other ideas and we can talk about them and see what we can do. Okay, and the next slide, just some statistics about our program. We actually have graduated 22 classes. We have almost 1,200 students. And you can see that these are students who really reach out and really, I want to say they really kind of shine in these areas. We have graduates going to Harvard, Columbia, Cornell. You can see the list here. So we're very proud of them. Now, the question may be, how do I join humanities and arts? And you just fill out an application form. I have a QR code here if you're interested. And the application is short. They're due by January 26th, and students will be formally notified of acceptance into the program. This particular application you can also find on our Humanities and Arts page of the Wootton website. Okay, and now I'm going to move to one of the other things that I work on at school, and that's the AP Capstone program. Now, just to frame this, this is something that your students may decide to take part in. They do not have to decide right now, but as a parent of your child and you're helping your kids figure out what the next few years will look like, this is something that you might want to take into account. So this is a program that is put together by College Board. And if we can go to the next slide, I'll show you what it is comprised of. There are two options here. One is the AP Capstone Diploma. The other is the AP Seminar and Research Certificate. In order to get the actual capstone diploma, you take 1 year of AP Seminar and earn a score of 3 or higher on the AP. Then you take AP Research in the second year and again, earn a score of 3 or higher. And if your student does that, they'll earn a certificate from AP. And then if your student takes 4 other APs in school, and they can be in any field they want, and they earn a score of 3 or higher, they can earn the AP Capstone Diploma. And that's something that will show on their transcripts when they go to, or I'm sorry, on their common applications when they apply for school as seniors. So if you look on the next slide, and I believe this is almost my last one, who can take AP Capstone classes? Anybody. We welcome anybody who wants to challenge themselves. They can take the AP Seminar course as early as 10th grade. And I believe Ms. Starr is going to talk a little bit more about this, but we are offering AP Seminar as 10th grade English now. We've covered the rest. And what you see here is AP Capstone benefits. I will tell you that as the teacher, one of the teachers who's been involved in this program for the last 5 years or so, the students really come out ready for college in terms of their research ability, their reading ability, their writing ability, and presentation skills. So this is something, if you want to learn more about it, we've got information on the website, and you can also email me. So at this time, I'm going to step back, and I'm not sure who's coming. Oh, it looks like Miss White. So I'll turn it over to Miss White in the math department.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kayla White, and I am the math resource teacher. We're going to talk a little bit about math requirements as a whole, and then just zoom in on courses for 9th and 10th grade for next year, as you will have some more time to decide for your future courses. As said by Mr. Kurtz, students must have 4 math credits in order to graduate. This means that students must be enrolled in math for all 4 years of high school. Even though some of these courses may have been taken in middle school, you will need to be in math all 4 years. This means some of our students tend to graduate with 5 or 6 math credits. Of the 4 required math classes, Algebra 1 and Geometry must be 2 of them, and the other 2 will depend on your child's goals and math strengths. Another requirement is the Algebra 1 state test. Also, as said by Mr. Kurtz, sometimes there's a specific score required. Sometimes it's just a sitting in for the assessment. So at this point, we're just going to leave that there. Ms. Levy, you can pass this along. Here is the overall course sequence. As you can see, there are lots of arrows. It is slightly confusing. But one thing to really focus on is that most of the choices happen after kind of the Algebra 2 pre-calc level, where it tends to branch off to kind of a calculus track or a statistics track. The earlier courses that your children will be taking for 9th grade don't really have too many options. So we're going to just kind of zoom in there for now. Miss Levy, if you can move us along. I feel like I shouldn't have to read to you, but I'll do it kind of quickly. In Math 8, if your child is in Math 8, they really kind of have one choice for next year. They will be taking Algebra 1. We do offer a course called Related Math, which is a second math course designed to support students in Algebra 1. So if that seems like something that might be beneficial, we can talk about getting you enrolled in Related Math as well. And then as a 10th grader, you would take Geometry. If you are currently in Algebra 1, you have 2 choices for next year, either Honors Geometry or regular Geometry, and then same for 10th grade, either Honors Algebra 2 or Algebra 2. Similarly, if you are currently in Geometry, your choices for next year would be one of our 2 Algebra 2 courses, and then following that, one of our 2 options for pre-calculus. And I know we have a few students who are in Algebra 2 currently. They would similarly have choices for pre-calculus as 9th graders, and then a calculus course for 10th grade. The major thing I want to take time to talk about with you tonight is the difference between honors and on-level, specifically in math. Our honors courses are definitely more rigorous and more require a greater time commitment outside of class. So if you are someone that maybe math is not your passion and it is not something you see yourself doing in the future, it is totally okay to take our we were talking about that balance, take our on-level courses. They tend to have kind of some more built-in time for practice days, doing homework in class, but still kind of cover the same content. Our honors courses will move at a faster pace, require more learning and practice and homework outside of class, and tend to have a calculator component to them. Our honors courses tend to place emphasis on some kind of mental math skills as well, so there will be less calculator availability. Additionally, the assessments for honors courses tend to require kind of some deeper understanding. They may have questions that haven't been exactly covered in class, but students should be able to kind of piece together based on things they have learned. They obviously won't be something totally out of the realm of possibility, but May assessments in honors classes, again, those goal for those honors courses is to prep for AP level and college level math. So we're really going to focus on just assessment questions that test for deeper understanding and not just procedural knowledge. Most math courses have some type of homework every night, but as I said, in honors, it tends to be a little bit higher, where in our on-level classes, they'll have more time to kind of get a head start on that in class, but specific times are in the course bulletin. We have some great math support options. Our math teachers are almost always helping students during advisory, so that is something to consider for next year. If you find that you're needing some extra help, that is a great option. And we also offer tutoring via our Math Honor Society during lunch a couple of days a week. But I think that kind of sums it up for us for next year. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to reach out and talk about specific circumstances. Oh, sorry, one last thing I want to emphasize. We do not encourage, I saw some things in the chat about taking courses over the summer. For math, we really discourage taking courses over the summer for the first time. It is really too short of a time to really gain all the knowledge needed to be successful in the next course. So that is something that is not encouraged. If you are going to take a math summer course, it should be after you have already taken the course originally, but that is not something that we would suggest. There's also really no need. You can get all the classes you need while we are in school. So we do not recommend summer courses for math as the first time you're taking that course. Other than that, I feel good to go. It is on to Miss O'Neill.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mrs. O'Neill. I'm going to speak to you about fine arts, health and PE, child development, and TV production. All right. You are going to need 1 credit in art. That could be visual arts, which are the classes you see on this page, or that could be performing arts, which you will see on the next page. All of the classes that you see, oh, if you could go back. Oh, thank you. All of the classes that you see on this slide are our introductory level visual arts classes. We have foundations of art. You're going to be exploring a variety of materials and techniques. You're going to touch on a little bit of everything: 2D, 3D, intro to wire, cardboard, printmaking, painting, drawing, and coloring. We have our ceramics and sculpture class. That's our beginner level ceramics class. You're going to be working with clay every day, sculpting, using the potter's wheel to create functional pottery. We have our fashion illustration class. You're going to learn to draw the figure. You're going to learn to design garments. You are going to end up learning hand sewing and machine sewing so that you can create those garments you designed. There's crochet and embroidery, there's jewelry making, and there is a fashion show at the end of the year the students look forward to. We have photography 1. This is our digital photo class. Students are using a digital camera and or their cell phones to learn the basics of digital photography. They're working mainly in color, and there's also some basic Photoshop in that class. We also have our next 2 classes, our 2D studio art, which is our drawing, and our advanced painting. There is a prerequisite for those 2 classes that you would need a middle school art credit to take those classes. If your student is interested in those classes and they do not have that middle school art credit, they could take foundations of art first and then go into the studio art or the advanced painting. In the studio art, they're going to go in depth with drawing, shading, contouring, watercolor, pencils, and printmaking. And with the advanced painting, they're going to be using watercolors, acrylics, gouache, and doing still lifes, landscapes, and portraits. So those are our visual arts options. On to our performing arts options. We have our choral program. Students entering 9th grade or students starting in chorus would go to that Chorus High School 2. Don't let that 2 confuse you. That is our intro chorus class at Wootton. It's traditional chorus. There's a variety of music, a variety of performances. This class is heavily freshman. It's for students new to chorus or students continuing from 8th grade chorus who are still building their skill set. There is an option to audition for our chamber singers, our a cappella class. This is more advanced. Students are learning the music faster. There's a higher level of music reading skills needed, and there's more of an outside commitment with performances and competitions. If your student is interested in the a cappella or the chamber singers, they will audition. I will share that date with you on the next slide, but they would sign up for chorus 2. And then depending on the audition, we will take care of moving them on our side after the audition. So they would still sign up for chorus 2, even if they plan to audition. We have our symphonic band and our symphonic orchestra. For many of our 9th grade students, that's going to be our Patriot Winds and Patriot Strings class. You are going to sign up for the level of band or orchestra based off of your middle school teacher's recommendation. If you do not agree with that recommendation, you may audition for a higher level, or if you play an instrument but you are not in middle school band, you may audition and the teachers will figure out and help with you to place you in the correct level of band. We also have our guitar class and our piano class. These are great if you are a beginner on the guitar or piano, or if you have some experience. It's differentiated. The teacher is going to meet you where you are to build your skill set on that instrument. And then we have our theater classes. Theater 1, building skills for being on stage, working on line memorization and stage presence, being comfortable in front of crowds. And if you are more of a backstage person, you may want to take stage design or technical theater. You're going to be creating, designing, and constructing the sets, working on lights and sounds, special effects, technology, and makeup. All of these classes in visual and performing arts do have higher level classes. You may end up wanting to take 2, 3, or even 4 levels of all of these classes. You do have to take at least 1 year for your credit, but you can continue on and use them as elective credits. Okay, here are those audition dates. If you are interested in that chamber singers or that a cappella, save the date of March 13th, and you're going to email our choral director, Mr. Schwartz. And then if you are interested in auditioning for the band or orchestra, if you're not going to go with the level that you were recommended for band, you're going to email Mrs. Eckerly. And for orchestra, you're going to email Mrs. Herman. And you will be submitting a video by April 1st, but they will give you those details. So just save that date. All right, next we have PE. You are going to need 1 credit of PE in high school. Each of these classes you see here are half a credit. So you either take the same class twice, semester A and B, for your full credit, or you choose 2 of them and you can mix and match. Our lifetime sports is our less competitive than your traditional gym class. We're talking cornhole, bocce. There is a big emphasis on walking. Many days you'll be out on the track walking. Our net sports, you've got a unit on tennis, a unit on badminton, a unit on volleyball, and a unit on pickleball. Team sports, the class typically gets to vote and choose on 4 or 5 for the semester. It could be football, hockey, soccer, basketball, baseball, etc. We have our concentrated classes, our basketball class, our flag football, frisbee, and floor hockey, and our soccer class. All of those are going to have emphasis on rules and gameplay, techniques, skills, and movement. We have our yoga and stretching class, and we have our weight training class. There's going to be emphasis on safety, proper technique, control, range of motion, and the students will develop a personal strength training program with the help of their teacher that they'll be following throughout the semester. That then takes us to health. Students will need 1 health credit in high school. Health A may be taken in 9th grade, while Health B may not be taken in 9th grade. That cannot be taken until 10th grade. What we are finding our students are having more success with is holding off and taking Health A and B in the same year, most likely 10th grade. There are always questions. I got them today at Cabin John about, can I take health in the summer? And that is an option through MCPS e-learning. Health A may be taken the summer before 9th grade, if that is an option for you, and Health B the summer before 10th grade, if that's an option for you. Okay, now we're going to move on to our electives. Some of our electives that we offer at Wootton. You do need to take 2 credits of electives during your time at Wootton. Many students take many more. They have room in their schedule. One of them may be child development. We do have a preschool at Wootton. The classroom is right at Wootton. We have 10 4- and 5-year-old children who come to us 4 days a week for their preschool program. It is the year before kindergarten. And when our high school students sign up to be in this class, they are signing up to work in our preschool. There is a 30-day orientation where we are talking about development and curriculum, lesson planning, learning styles, guidance techniques, classroom management, really just getting us ready to be the best teachers we can be in the 30 days we have. And then in mid-October, we open up our preschool and our children come to us 4 days a week from mid-October to the end of the school year. The high schoolers then are in 3 groups. It'll be their teaching group. For 1 week, they would be planning. I would tell them next week, your theme is winter. give them a blank set of plan sheets, and they fill those up with all the plans that they want to do for the preschoolers the next week. They then rotate and they teach and implement all those activities, engage with the preschoolers. And then the third week, they're doing their observation rotation, where they are observing the children, taking notes on topics that we talked about at the beginning of the year, as well as Fridays, because our preschoolers don't come on Fridays. This is a class with no tests, no homework, no quizzes. It's all hands-on. Your grades come from the observations, engaging with the preschoolers, and planning and preparation for the preschoolers. It is an elective. It's a class we hope the children or the high schoolers enjoy, find some balance. There are 5 SSL hours per semester attached to this course, so 10 for the year. If you go to the next slide, I just wanted to point out that this is part of a full program. It could be taken as a state-approved program of study. However, the very large majority of our students take it as an elective. They may take 1 year, they may take it and keep going with year 2, 3, and even 4 with the internship. That's up to them. There is a Maryland State certification after the second year. It's an industry certification, and you can find more details about that in the course bulletin. And then the last thing I'm going to speak about is our TV production. This is a class you're going to learn to create content across a range of platforms. You're planning and creating film. And if you're familiar with the morning announcements, possibly at the middle school, we've shifted to producing a monthly variety show, but it's a very similar format. And the class is also going to be working on other school-wide events. So just wrapping up, I know you've heard from Mr. Kurtz earlier, balance is key. We are really feeling that our courses help with that balance and that transition. Hopefully they're classes that our students look forward to going to, they enjoy, they like, it gets them up and moving, they're hands-on. So whether that's TV production, child development, PE, art, just really helpful to think about that as you think about that transition to high school. And I think I'm turning that over to, okay, Miss Starr for English. Thank you.
Good evening, class of 2028. My name is Eva Starr. I'm the resource teacher for the English department. And unlike the other teachers you're hearing from today, we don't have quite as many options for you for 9th grade, but I am going to talk to you about your one option and also some elective options that you have. Okay, so for 9th grade, all of your children will be taking Honors English 9. That's your only option. So that is not super complicated. But as you can see here, as they move on past 9th grade, there do become more options available to them. In 10th grade, students can choose between Honors English 10 or AP Seminar 10, which you heard from Miss Hanson can be taken as a replacement for English 10, or students can also take that course as an elective. That would be in addition to English 10 or a later English course. In 11th grade, students take Honors English 11 or AP Language and Composition. And then in grade 12, they can take Honors English 12 or AP Language and Composition 12 if they haven't already taken it the year before, or they can move on to AP Literature and Composition. All students in MCPS are required to have 4 credits in English in order to graduate within their 4 years of high school, 1 per year. So here are the various pathways. Thank you. In English 9, it's not tremendously different from the structure of what they're doing in English 8. They will have writing tasks that are familiar to them that span narrative, argumentative, and analytical writing. They will go deeper, of course, in 9th grade, and then each successive year, if they stay within the county curriculum, they'll go deeper into those various types of writing. Most of the essays are done in a workshop style in class, so there is some writing required at home, but there's much of it that is done in class with the teacher present. Most classes have homework related to reading. If they're reading a novel or a play, there would be some reading to do at home and some writing done at home when they're finalizing an essay. But generally, students have less homework in their English courses than they do in their other content areas. The workload in class is close reading of literature, study of different kinds of texts, workshop style writing, in-class essays and other kinds of writing, and then homework. It says nightly here. It's not actually nightly. It would be nightly while they're reading a particular text, but they're not always reading a particular text. There's also going to be some vocabulary study and research and drafting of writing and finalizing of essays. But again, much of that work happens in class. And again, the English class has less work than the other content areas outside of class time. We do have electives that are open to 9th graders. These can be taken, all of them, as 1 semester or 2 semester courses. So if you have a 1 semester course, such as Ms. O'Neill mentioned, if you took 1 semester of health, you could pair any of these courses with that 2nd semester, or you could take them for a full year. These are open to 9th graders, but they can be taken at any point. The first option is journalism. We have a robust journalism program. You can check out any of those articles at any time at Wootton Common Sense online. And students very quickly move from learning the fundamentals of journalism into being active participants in the newspaper program and becoming leaders and becoming actively involved in their school community. We also have a yearbook class that designs the yearbook. We have a 1 semester only African-American literature class that is a genre specific class. We have a film studies class that's 2 semesters. You could take 1 or both. And we have a creative writing class. Again, you could take that for 1 semester or both. In addition to these, we have a true crime class that is also available to students as a 1 credit class. And we have a Shakespeare class that is a 1 credit class. And that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or drop those in the chat. I look forward to meeting your kids next year. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and take over. My name is Laura Parsons. I am the head of the Social Studies Department at Wootton High School. Welcome again to everybody in the class of 2028. Essentially, in social studies, you are required to have 3 courses: a U.S. history course, a U.S. government course, and a world history course. In 9th grade, there are 2 choices for your students. You can take, or they can take, honors U.S. history in 9th grade. That will continue along the same lines as their 8th grade course that they're taking right now. Or they can take AP NSL. This is also AP U.S. government and politics. And you can see by the flow chart here that after whatever you take your first year as 9th grader, you will then flip-flop it for the other course that you did not take during your 10th grade year. So honors U.S. history, if you take honors U.S. history next year, you'll be taking government the following year as a 10th grader, either honors NSL or AP NSL. If you choose to take AP NSL as a freshman, then they will then be able to take honors U.S. history or AP U.S. history afterwards. You can see there are lots of social studies electives that start to open up for 10th graders. There is only 1 elective for 9th grade students, and that is Model UN. It is a year-long course. Ms. Laby. Thank you. So I do want to talk about the differences between the 2 courses that are offered for 9th graders. Honors U.S. history is similar to what your student is doing right now in 8th grade advanced U.S. history in their middle schools. They will be doing similar writing skills. They will have similar types of lessons with lecture, hands-on assignments, projects, group work. The social studies thinking skills that they started in 8th grade will be continued to be developed, and especially in the writing skills. There is more time in class to work on assignments and homework in class for honors U.S. history, as the pace is much, much slower for honors U.S. history. There's an entire year of course of the calendar from September to June. And so there is a lot more time to kind of work with students on some of these things. AP US Government and Politics, it's also known as AP NSL in Montgomery County, is a college level course. Students will be looking and reading from a college level textbook, along with outside readings with questions, including foundational documents, such as the Articles of Confederation, Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. And there are 17 required Supreme Court cases that are required by the College Board for students to be knowledgeable about for the tests in May. The teaching is very similar. Ooh, not yet, Miss Levy, sorry. That's okay. The teaching is very similar in terms of there's lecture-based discussion, there's group work, there's a lot of application of the social studies thinking skills. There's again a practice. There's 4 different types of writing that will be learned for the test in May. And that will be learned and practiced throughout the whole year. Now, because we are preparing students for the AP exam in May, the past 2 years, it has been the first exam on the very first day of the first week. There is less time to ensure that the content that students need to know is taught. So the pace is much faster than you will see for an honors US history course. You can see we're talking about the structure and the functioning of the government. So it is an interesting course if your student is interested in what is happening in our government, in our country today, currently, as there are real world examples pulled from what is happening today. Along with, to echo what everybody else has said about balance, and please feel free to not think that you have to take, or your student has to take AP US Government and Politics as a 9th grader. If you could go back one slide, Miss Levy, I'm sorry. You could see if they chose to take Honors US History in 9th grade, they can then take AP NSL as a 10th grader. If you want to have that transition year as they get used to high school, that is perfectly acceptable. They are not missing out on any opportunities by taking Honors US History first. If they have a love and a passion for social studies, I really recommend then that they take AP NSL as a 9th grader. And then to complete the program of study for social studies, 11th grade would be world history, either honors or AP. And then we do offer a lot of electives, a lot of AP courses that will hopefully interest your students when they get a little bit older. Okay, so I believe next is Dr. Fetterman. He is the head of the World Languages Department.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Good evening. Welcome to all of you. Today, I'm going to be talking about what are the world language courses that we offer, as well as the graduation requirements and a few things to consider when moving beyond those graduation requirements. So there are 2 course options for next year. The first option is to continue with the current language of study. This is the language that your student may be taking in middle school now. This is the primary and the recommended path forward. That is primarily because students with 1 or 2 years already taken in middle school, they'll have the ability to reach a higher level language class and thus higher levels of proficiency. With 1 or 2 years of a language, they don't have the communicative ability to communicate as fully with their linguistic repertoire just yet. The second option would be to enroll in level 1 of a new language. You might want to consider this for a variety of reasons. One, if you're not finding the success that you had hoped for in middle school, or if you want to enroll in one of the languages that we offer at high school that are not offered in the middle school. For graduation, 2 credits are required, and those credits must be in the same world language. If your child is university bound, they are recommended to take at least 4 credits of a world language in high school. This not only demonstrates a willingness to embrace rigor, but it allows your student to attain a meaningful level of proficiency in the language. We also offer honor societies in Spanish, French, and Chinese that they can join once they're in level 4 or higher. And then they have the opportunity to earn the seal of biliteracy, as well as potentially university credits with our AP courses. The Maryland Seal of Biliteracy is a designation that students receive at graduation, which means that they are proficient in English and 1 or more other languages. With this, they get not only a medal to wear at graduation, but they get the seal of biliteracy imprinted on their diploma. And they also receive an official score report that is nationally recognized, which means they can take that when they're applying to college or looking for a job or career. It is an official way to designate on their resume that they are bilingual and biliterate in English and one or more other languages. So if you're considering whether or not to continue with the language, this can be one motivational factor to continue to level 4, because once you reach level 4, you are eligible to test for the seal of biliteracy, as well as continuing all the way to AP. And if you score a 4 or 5 on one of our AP language exams in Chinese, French, or Spanish, your student will automatically receive the seal of biliteracy. These are the languages that we offer courses in. We have Chinese, French, and Spanish, which are offered at the middle school. And we also have one additional language that is not currently offered at either of our feeder middle schools, which is ASL, which is American Sign Language. All of our courses that are level 3 and higher, with the exception of ASL, are honors or advanced level or advanced placement, meaning students earn additional points on their weighted GPA. For the course sequencing for ASL and Chinese, it's very straightforward. You go sequentially through the courses by number. So if you're in Chinese 1, then next year you would take Chinese 2. If you're in Chinese 2 this year, you would take Chinese 3 next year. For French and Spanish, it's sequential in the beginning. And then once we get to higher levels, we have additional courses that have in our electives that have additional pathways. So for French, we have a French cinema course. Ms. Levy, could you go to the next slide, please?
Sorry.
Thank you. No, you're good. So after French 4, we have French 5, 6, and 7, which is an intentionally combined French cinema course. And we also have the AP French language course. For Spanish, we have a similar situation. We have the AP Spanish course, but we also have one additional AP course, which is the AP Spanish literature course. So if students are looking to attain a real working level of proficiency and be able to communicate with real people in real situations, it's highly recommended that they continue beyond level 4. And then once again, we have ASL, Chinese, French, and Spanish. So just find whatever course you're in this year and you can enroll in the subsequent course. If you're not sure about your child's placement or if they're ready, they most likely are, but the best person to talk to would be their current language teacher. And then one final note, we have in our world language courses, Ms. Levy, thank you. We have a 100% AP exam pass rate. So all of our students who took AP Chinese, AP French, or both of our Spanish AP courses passed the AP exam. So this means that students are exiting our program with very high levels of proficiency. A 5 on an AP language exam is equivalent to advanced low, which is the minimum qualifying score that you need to be a language teacher in the state of Maryland. So it's a very high level of proficiency. And most of our kids, 75% of our kids who take an AP exam earn the seal of biliteracy just by taking the AP exam. If you have any questions regarding placement or seal of biliteracy, you can reach out to me via email. And I look forward to seeing your student in one of our language courses next year. Next up is Mr. Turner, who will talk to you about computer science and information technology.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Paul Turner. You can see my email address there. If you have any questions outside of tonight's chat, please feel free to reach out to me at that address. We're going to talk about a few different course offerings here in the computer science IT strand. Starting with what Mr. Kurtz said earlier tonight, your child is required to take one full course in technology education credit in order to graduate from high school. At Wootton High School, we offer 2 different courses, either Foundations of Computer Science or AP Computer Science Principles. You can see some of the different topics that both of those courses cover. Neither of these courses require any prior knowledge. Both of these courses are weighted. Most students elect to take one of these 2 courses during 9th grade. AP Computer Science Principles is a course that 9th graders can take. About half of this year's class consists of 9th graders. We would consider this kind of one of the more introductory AP courses. So again, students are expected to take one of those 2 courses prior to graduation. It is possible that your child has taken Foundations of Computer Science during 8th grade right now, or they may elect to take it over this summer in between 8th grade and 9th, in which case we do have a few other courses that we offer in the CS department that again require no background information at all. Ms. Levy, if you don't mind, thank you. So I'm just going to kind of go through a few different courses that we offer in each of these different pathways. We have a few courses in IT network, a few courses in web, and one course in computer program. If you don't mind going ahead about 2 slides. Yep. Thank you. So the first course we offer is Cisco IT Essentials. This course is where students will learn the ins and outs of computer, how to build a computer from scratch, how to configure it. They'll also learn a hefty amount of cybersecurity. By the end of this course, students could sit for the CompTIA A+ certification exam. That's one of the most recognized certifications in the IT field. Next up, in the same strain, they could take our Cisco Intro to Networks course. This course, they would learn how to build their own local area network and configure that. They learn all about IP addressing, troubleshooting, and we also do a unit on Amazon Cloud fundamentals like AWS web services, and they can get some certificates for that as well. Moving on, and again, all these classes are considered introductory level. They don't require any previous experience whatsoever. We offer Computer Programming 1. This is where students will learn the fundamentals of developing algorithms, and we do that in the C++ programming language. This course is weighted and is a prereq for a course that students tend to take either in 10th or 11th grade called AP Computer Programming 2. Just to get a little taste of what you would see if students decide to register in that class, they would learn how to create variables. We keep going. Loops, if statements, we keep going. Yep, arrays, matrices, and they do this all in a environment where they'll ultimately be creating either apps or games. Lastly, if your student has more of like a creative flair and they want to have some design, we offer web development, which is where they'll learn how to build websites using HTML. They'll learn how to incorporate CSS. They'll learn how to edit in Photoshop, and we are actually going to integrate a few AI tools here now that Adobe Photoshop is doing that as well. And finally, there will be some animation in Flash. For students who truly have a passion in computer science, we offer a special program here at Wootton High School called the Academy of Information Technology. Go ahead, one more, thank you. This is pretty much a comprehensive program students would be a part of for all 4 years of them being in high school. They would take one course per year that they're in with us. So it would be either one course in computer programming, one course in networking, or one course in web dev. So again, they would take one different course for all the years that they're at Wootton High School. In between 11th and 12th grade, they would be expected to complete an internship. And during 11th grade, we start to prepare them for that process. In addition to that, we hold speaking events, competitions, hackathons, scholarship opportunities, resume writing workshops, mock interviews. And again, this is all throughout the entire 4 years that they're with us. So if your child has any interest in computer science, we really encourage them to check out more information about our AOIT program. That can be found both right here with the QR code. I believe I already answered one question where I posted the website. And if you were to go to Wootton High School's website right now on the announcement section, you would immediately see a link to apply for AOIT. There is an application deadline. That's the very last day of spring break. Again, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out an email, and I'll be answering questions in chat for the remainder of the evening. So now I'm going to kick it over to Mr. Thompson, our science RT.
Thank you very much, Mr. Turner, and thank you to all the parents who have stuck it out to hear the closer of the science department. Just listening in and all my colleagues, I'm very excited for the opportunities that your children have in the next 4 years. I think Wootton presents a lot of great things, and I'm excited that you get to take advantage of them. I'm going to present to you first the requirements for high school in science, and then some of the opportunities that go beyond that. As you can see on the screen, there are 3 credits required in science, like social studies. They must fall into certain categories. The standard opener is a life science, which is biology. That biology course does have a state assessment embedded into it, and that assessment counts as part of the grade, and the graduation requirement is that you pass the course with that test score embedded into it. The second credit needs to be a physical science. Chemistry and physics both count as that. The third credit gets a little fuzzy. It needs to have Earth space systems embedded into it, but pretty much all of our courses count for the third credit, as long as you're not double dipping it and repeating one of the ones you've already done. So all of our AP courses count, and if you've taken chemistry, physics counts. So the standard sequence, as Mr. Kurtz mentioned earlier, is biology, chemistry, physics, but it's very easy to deviate from that. And a lot of students take advantage of their own interests and college plans or high school plans to take their own path. As you can see on that last bullet, a lot of our students will opt to take many more credits than the minimum 3. Not just because they plan to major in science, just because we have some good academic courses and some good courses of interest that I'll try to share with you later. These are the 9th grade options, and it looks like there are a lot of them, but really most people will fall into that second and third column. You're choosing between biology and honors biology. This choice is very similar to the one covered by Ms. White with mathematics. These are leveled courses because students come into high school with different plans, different interests when it comes to science. On the left, briefly, that's Earth Systems and Sustainability. That is a course designed for emerging multilingual learners. If your child is a candidate for that class, counselors will help steer you into that and get you enrolled. For biology and honors biology, making that decision, there are good reasons for both. If you are at all concerned about making that academic transition into high school coursework, then it is a good idea to start with on-level biology. Like math, starting with on-level biology does not prevent you from taking honors courses in the future. It does not prevent you from taking AP courses in the future. We are always keeping an eye on our students, and if students are working hard and showing results as a consequence of that, we will always encourage them to challenge themselves, whatever that might be. Honors biology, if you know coming into high school that you are all about science and you want to max out on the opportunities, then this is a good starting point. The main difference between honors and on-level biology is honors biology is preparing you for upper level biology courses, most specifically AP biology, but we have some other electives that would fall into that category as well. Both of these courses have you thinking about and engaging with biology in different ways. There are dissections, there are a lot of labs, lab write-ups. The middle school students should be familiar with claim, evidence, and reasoning writing. That's going to be part of the MISA exam, the state test that they'll have to take, and part of the coursework. It's just that honors biology will require more independent study. They might have to write with more memorized information versus reading passages, charts, graphs, things like that in front of them. Some 9th graders will come in and take honors chemistry. They would be students who are in geometry now, honors geometry now, taking algebra 2 as 9th graders. That requirement is just because honors chemistry has a little more math than biology. And the reason they would take honors chemistry as a 9th grader is so that they could start taking AP science coursework in 10th grade. 2 10th grade options include AP chemistry, which will obviously require honors chemistry, but there is also the possibility of AP Physics 1, which is a first-year physics course. I did see a couple questions in the chat about the possibility of taking both honors biology and honors chemistry as 9th grade. We have a handful of students each year attempt this, and they usually are successful, but I really want to stress, everybody's mentioning balance this year. Balance is key, and we do not recommend this load for incoming 9th graders. You're not going to be behind if you don't take 2 sciences in 9th grade. Many students do take 2 sciences in 10th grade. And as I'll see on the next slide, no matter where you start, all students should have 12th grade open to pursue science electives that match their interests. So these slides will be available to you, and you could look at them more closely. The image here is just to show that there are many possibilities. There is not one path from start to finish. And we, your science teachers, your counselors, will be constantly working with your students to help them find the path that makes the most sense for them. The standard track is sort of towards the bottom, biology, chemistry, and physics. But as we'll see on the next slide, the options for the third course would include any of those AP courses to the left. Basically, once you've taken chemistry, just about our whole course catalog opens up to you. So any of the AP courses listed there would count as the third graduation requirement. The electives that appear to the right, these we would not let you take until you've met graduation requirements, but that could be in 11th grade or 12th grade. And these are the courses that a lot of students just find very interesting. For example, honors nutrition science, there are cooking labs in there that take advantage of the knowledge gained in class. Forensic science, if your children like watching crime scene investigation shows, they're going to learn the science behind that. A lot of students have an interest in studying medicine or biomedical research after high school. So anatomy, physiology, molecular biology, great options for them. So I only present these to rising ninth grade parents because it's good to start with a 4-year plan in mind. Should definitely change that plan as you progress through your 4 years, but you just want to know what kind of targets you're aiming for in 11th and 12th grade. There is a special program in the sciences called Wootton Science Capstone Plus. If you had students from way back, they may have been part of the STARS program. So this is kind of the rebirth of that. STARS, like humanities and arts, it is aligned with the College Board's capstone diploma program. It has 2 of the same course requirements, AP Seminar and AP Research. Ms. Hanson spoke about those earlier. The only difference is there's a lot of student choice in those courses. So if you're a science student, Science Capstone Plus student, you would be choosing research and projects that have more of a science theme to them. I think those courses are great complements to the excellent instruction your children will get in all of our science courses, but there's more collaboration, there's presentation skills, and of course, independent research. So they are great complements to our science program. Additional parts of the Capstone Plus include a summer experience where just during one of the summers, they're going to do something enriching outside of the school environment, and then participation in some semester activities that are science themed. Our Science National Honor Society helps coordinate a little bit of that. As far as the other courses, like humanities and arts, you only need to take, you have to take 4 AP courses in addition to seminar and research. And we only ask that one of those be science. And if you're a science-minded student, it's very probable that your child will take 2, 3, or I don't know about 4, but some try AP sciences. So they are there for you. And that's all that I need to say, unless there are any chat questions that I can answer aloud. Ms. Steffen's been doing a great job of fielding chats all night long. Excellent resource. But you can also email me with questions and I'll follow up with you very promptly.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson. There might be one because it is science focused, and that is, do any of our science in classes specifically include botany?
The closest would probably be AP Environmental Science. They do some studies, both stream studies and field studies, where they are walking to the creek that is nearby Wootton High School. They are doing plant studies there. I think they might do some growing labs in the classroom. But if this student is interested, we also have a gardening club. So maybe that scratches the itch too.
Well, that sounds fun. All right. Ms. Levy, just checking that there's nothing else that we really need to go over.
No, there is not. I just want to thank everyone, obviously the parents and caregivers and students who were logged in, but especially our resource teachers for spending the evening with us to share the content and courses that are open and available to our rising ninth graders. Mr. Kurtz and Mrs. Steffen from counseling, thank you for your participation and fielding so many questions that were in the Q&A. As a reminder, right now, the registration portal is open, so you can go in and start registering. Registration will close on the 17th. So please keep that date in mind. Registration is open right now, so you can start registering even this evening. Again, we have our QR code in front of us right now where you can scan it so that you have a listing of all of the courses that are available to you. It's a course planning card. Registration will close on the 17th. We will make these slides available as well as a link to this webinar early next week. As a reminder, Monday is a holiday, so Monday we will not be working on this, but we will really work towards having these slides and the link available by close of business on Tuesday. That being said, a few of us will stay on for a few more minutes and keep the Zoom open if you have any more questions that need to be answered. But other than that, have a good evening, and we look forward to seeing you next year at Wootton High School.
Great. Thanks so much, Steph.